at our African Nightcrawler bins. So these are two bins that we've had. I'm not really adding a lot of food to them. It's really just cardboard and African Nightcrawlers. And I'm kind of like scraping the adults out of here to kind of let the babies repopulate the system. So the last time I think I updated, which was 25 days ago, we had a kind of a harvest. We took out some of these worms, and we're going to see how these bins are doing and if they've started to repopulate their systems in here. So with that, we have two systems to go through. One that's in a 10-gallon tote, and the first one that we're going to look at here in a busboy bin. Now, I have added some water, just so you know, to the busboy bin because it looked a little bit dry. So we're going to see how it looks right now. It's been a few days since I added that water. Hopefully it's soaked in a little bit, but hopefully it's not overly dry because I was beginning to worry about it drying out after 25 days. Normally I check on these about every 2 weeks. So with that, let's take a look at this busboy bin, and then we'll take a look at our 10-gallon tote. Alright, here's our first system here, the busboy bin. Our last date was 3/24/22, and it does look like I might have added a little bit of food last time. I don't plan on doing that this time. Let's go ahead and peel this up here and take a look and see how this is doing. So first off, I'm not seeing any worms or baby worms on this top section here. Oh, actually, wait a minute, hold on. It looks like there might be a couple down right over here. But not as many as when I've checked it in the past. On here, there's maybe, oh wait, hold on, there's one more. It looks like right over here, if I can get that in view. Right over here, there's another one on there. So just a few on there, not many. But we do have a couple worms right on top, right away here. Actually, 3 worms it looks like. So we've got a couple large ones right on top here. There's one. Oh, come on. Come on. Now that one's going to get away. There's another one over here as well, but we got one on top right here. They look nice and healthy. That's a good sign. As you can see, this area over here, actually, let me just push this down a little bit. This area over here is a little bit dry, so that's probably not a good sign. I see another one moving right over here, it looks like. But there are some adults in here, which is a great sign. I'm not seeing any mites along the outsides here, as I have seen in the past. I'm not seeing any fruit flies or fungus gnats either. Looks like there might be a mite or something over here that's crawling. But overall, the system looks pretty good. Lots of castings on the top here, especially underneath that cover. So let's just start digging in here. We last, looks like we added some food on this side. Let's just see how this side is doing. Or maybe it was just paper that we added. We've got another worm down here. Now remember, we cleared out the majority of these large worms. Now this is a little bit dry, this paper. I can feel that it's actually sticking to the bottom here a little bit. And the reason why it's doing that is because of the heater that I have at the bottom. So it's heating up the bottom, and in the process, with that heat, it's drying out the bottom and having it stick. But you can see worms are in here. This one's not moving quite as much, but it is moving. A little bit lacking of moisture in here, even though I did add some. Just kind of continue to dig this way. Another large worm over there. Let's put that back over there. Another really long one right here. This one's a little bit more active. I don't think we're going to need any more paper in here at this point, but we are seeing we have a mango seed right here. Let's just crack that open. Take a look inside. Not much going on in there. Not seeing any baby worms or anything. Nothing on the outside either, but that's not surprising. I'm glad to see I'm seeing some adult worms. We saw the 2 over here. Here's the mango seed, it looks like. I'm trying to break that open, but maybe I can't get that one quite as well. There is a worm on it right there. You can see. Baby worm. So we'll just go ahead and bury that underneath as well. But there are some worms in here, considering the fact that we really had taken out the majority of them, and there's a lot of castings in here, surprisingly. I really didn't expect this many castings either. Again, another worm in here, another large worm over here. I think the big problem right now is just moisture. I think this is too dry. There's one right here. This guy's moving around like crazy. That one's very active. Again, these are these large African Nightcrawlers. This system right over here on this side is definitely too dry to support any worms. They breathe through their skin with water, and that's just way too dry. So we're going to have to add some moisture to this to kind of wet this down. And really, that's all we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and put this back out. We're going to go ahead and wet this down. I have my spray, but also we're going to dump some water in there since the bottom was pretty dry, and this is all pretty dry material. I mean, look how clean my gloves are. So I've got my water with BTI mix over here, which is to prevent the fruit flies and fungus gnats. We're just going to go ahead and pour some of this in. I don't really care about the moisture content, you know, of it getting too like a little bit muddy or not in here. It's very dry. I also did just turn off the heater. I think it's actually heated up to that point now where it should be okay. Now what we're going to do is just going to kind of mix this in a little bit. And then we're going to spray down the top. You can see it's kind of muddy in the bottom a little bit, but that's okay. It's going to get mixed in. They're going to mix it in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just spray down the top with a little bit of my sprayer here, my water sprayer, just to make sure the top is wet, because that's going to evaporate. That's going to kind of form a little bit of a barrier, hopefully to keep that moisture in as it evaporates and reflects back down in there. So let me grab that. And we'll just spray the top down a little bit, and then we'll put the cover back on and put it back. Hopefully without the heat on the bottom, it's not going to dry out as quickly. So here we go. But overall, this system is doing pretty good. I'm glad to see that there are some worms in here and that it looks like they have multiplied. And we're going to continue to take out some of these worms and maybe start in a fourth system, I guess, or fifth. So I think I have, I've got the urban worm bag, which I just started with African Nightcrawlers. I've got 2 systems here that are expanding with African Nightcrawlers, and then I have the hamster bedding bin that has the African Nightcrawlers in it. So that's 4 systems now. So let's put this top back on. And that's it for this system. Actually, hold on. One more thing I do need to do. We didn't put anything in this time. So we're just going to go ahead and put this in the center, this label here, and we'll go ahead and we'll leave that one on for now. We'll take that off later, but the 420 date right here for today. And now let's go ahead and grab the other one. All right, here we are with our second system. We started it at very late last year on December 22nd, and we are about 4 months into the system right now. So this is about 4 months in. Let's flip this over. And first off, you can see that these systems are just so much better at holding moisture in than the busboy bins, especially during the winter where I've got this heater on. It's just hitting this top and then reflecting right back down in. You can see there's some baby worms on the lid right over here. And there's a couple actually on this side as well, or one right there. So you can see that. There are some mites on the lid, it looks like, right at this corner right there. So there are some mites, but if you can see, they're staying in the dry section, surprisingly. I thought they'd be kind of going into the moisture, but apparently not. So this one has a few more baby worms, it looks like, on the lid compared to the other one, or maybe the same amount. But this material looks very, very, very moist. You can see in here, it's just everything is brown, everything is wet. And you can see it's just holding in this moisture a lot better in here. Now with that though, let's just check and see how things look underneath. And actually it's pretty dry on the bottom, look at this. So this is what that heater does when you're heating from underneath. It's kind of, ruining the moisture on the bottom where all the moisture would normally gather. So first off, found our first worm in here. So that's a good sign that there are worms in here. We did pretty much empty these out. Well, that's a piece of pineapple right there. I'd put in some of the pineapple stuff. Overall, this material is not looking great, though. It's not nearly as much broken down compared to the other system. There's too much. There's like no moisture left on the bottom. Not seeing any worms and paper here. This might need a repopulation of worms eventually to really bring the numbers back up compared to the other system. Hold on, I think I saw some over here. There might be more towards the side. There's usually a good portion in these corners. There we go. There's another one right here. This one looks a little bit more lively. This system's not doing quite as well, which is surprising because it was, I think, before doing pretty well. All right, let's just move some of that back down. I think this system, though, the heat is driving the worms to the top. Let's just see here. You can see there's another worm right there. But yeah, this underside system is just way too dry. And it's dried it out, and the worms are probably trying to find a way to get, they're probably afraid. It's probably holding in the heat too well in this system compared to the other ones that kind of release it a little bit more. And the moisture staying on the surface. So hopefully with the heater being turned off, hopefully this moisture can settle back down in to the system and we can get this back running again with the worms. Because there's only a few in here that I found. I want to say maybe there was 5 total large worms in here compared to the other one that we found a bunch. So that's not a good sign, but the first thing this thing is going to need is a lot of water, I think. This is going to actually need more than the other one. Even though it looked fine from the lid, in here it's not as good as it would appear, which is why you do need to dig down sometimes to really just double check and make sure that things are okay in your systems. You know, you can't just look at the top and be like, everything's fine, and then you get down underneath and you realize that it's really, really bad underneath there. I'm going to add in quite a bit of water here because this system can handle it. But also that it's mainly paper, and that's going to have to soak up and rehydrate itself. And hopefully in the process of doing this, we're going to lure those worms back in, have them hopefully make some cocoons. So there's some sitting water in the bottom here, but that's okay. We can kind of rotate this stuff right through there. Try to get everything a little bit damp. And hopefully we can have them start working on this material. Because as I said, one of the big things that I'm really focusing on with these African Nightcrawlers is cardboard. I have tons and tons of cardboard. I'd like to turn that cardboard into castings. And that's really my hope for my urban worm bag, is that it's just a cardboard system, nothing else really. And really I would like these to also turn into cardboard systems. So this one is not doing nearly as well as the other one, but we're not going to add any worms to it yet. We're going to see if this just kind of recovers. Let me peel this piece of tape off right here. We're not going to need that going forward. And let's put this lid back on, and that's going to be our update for these systems. This system didn't look nearly as good as the other one. Hopefully these babies that are on the top, you're going to dump this water out before I put the lid back on. Hopefully these babies that we see on the top are going to make it down into the system, and we'll get some more worms in here. Now that I look at this again, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 worms on the top here. 8. Another one right there. So I see about 8 baby worms. I might have missed 1 or 2. It's hard to tell with the light that's reflecting in my face, probably a little bit more than yours. But that's what we've got going in this system so far, and that looks pretty good. So hopefully we'll see some more develop in here, and the next time, instead of seeing between 3 and 5 large adult worms, we'll be able to see a lot more. So that's my update for this week on my African Nightcrawler bins. If you have any questions, please let me know. These systems, I'm trying to grow up my worm population and grow it, so that way I have more African Nightcrawlers to go through my compost and my and just the systems in general. And I'm really trying these out. I'm really worried about losing a lot of them too, especially during the winter when they need kind of heat. My basement's a little chilly for them probably. So, I'm trying to take care of these as best I can, whereas my Reds and my Euros, they do fine in the winter. These guys are going to need more work, so I got to make sure I breed them up during the summer, as they might shrink in population during the winter. Or I'm going to have to try to move them together to get them on heaters. So thank you for watching. Again, if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below and let me know. Thank you.